I often script it. I do write out what I think is going to happen, how I want to feel. Another thing that I like to write out is what if everything goes wrong?
Welcome to the Connect Method Parenting Podcast, where correction is out, connection is in, and your kids want to listen to you. I'm Andy Martineau, creator of Connect Method Parenting, here to help you stay calm, confident, and connected no matter what. What's up, everybody? Happy holidays. I can't believe Christmas is within a week of when this episode drops. That's mind-blowing. What is happening? How are we almost to 2025? Do you feel the same way? I can't believe we're almost there, personally. Well, I can't imagine, but my brain is fighting me, wants to stay in 2024. To be honest, my birthday's in February, and so I'm just knowing that once we get to this new year, my birthday's there, and yeah, I guess I'm having a little resistance to getting another year older. It's so funny. Aging is beautiful. That is what I'm going to tell you all. And part of me doesn't like it. Anyway, why am I going on that? I have no idea why we went to that little place, but there we go. Today we're going to talk about preparing for all of these big holiday things that are coming up. We have just the sheer fact that the kids are home for a couple of weeks, but also the family parties, the gatherings with friends to celebrate Christmas or New Year's or whatever holiday you're celebrating this holiday season. It's important for us to show up the way we want to create beautiful memories with our kids, which is why I decided to have this conversation with Jennifer, a dear friend of mine, on the podcast today, because she is masterful at this. I've learned so much from her about creating what I want at events specifically, but just in her life. She's such a good example of that. So I brought her on. We had a conversation about how to think ahead of time when you have a holiday party, when you have a family gathering, when you have a gathering with friends, whatever it is, to think ahead of time and prepare for it. We talk about a couple of different ways to do that, how to go through that process, what not to do. It's really good. So get a piece of paper because you're going to want to take some notes and enjoy this conversation that we had. I can't wait for you to create exactly what you want in the next week or two at whatever family or friend gathering of any kind that you're having. Make it exceptional. That's what I want for you. So let's jump into the conversation. Hey, everybody. I'm so excited for this episode. I know Christmas or whatever holiday that you're celebrating, New Year's, all the things are coming up. And I have a special treat. I have my good friend Jennifer on with me today. We have been friends for, 6, 8 years. It feels like forever. I'm so glad that I have her in my life. And she's such a good example of creating intentionally how different family events come up. She's a coach like me. I mean, she coaches a different group of people. She coaches people primarily who are in the LDS faith, who have mixed marriages, and she helps them navigate that. And it's such a beautiful gift for those people to be served by her. And I'm so excited to talk about her process. Although as we were chatting before we started recording, she's like, I don't really have a process. And I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that, because I think a process is just a way of doing something, which she has been sharing and teaching me her process for doing this for many, many years. And I've implemented it and had major success as well. But I thought, let's go to the source of the amazing belief creation of how to make an event, especially a family event, which can be kind of tricky, how to make it exactly what you want. And maybe she would, not agree with exactly, but like pretty close. So Jennifer, tell us a little bit about this. I don't know if you have a title for it. I just always call like imagining what I want to create for my family event, specifically gatherings might be one of my favorite times to do this, but we could do it for anything. But like what you call it, how it came about, and we'll kind of go from there.
So I do have something I call it, but I don't know if it fits. Like I said, I really don't have a process. I just sort of feel my way forward and see where it ends up. But I call it visioning, or I also call it seeing with my mind's eye.
Okay, I love those. Way better than what I called it. Visioning. I think that's the perfect title for it. So we'll probably call this episode Visioning, but like visioning something in the future that you want to create. Okay, yeah. Keep going.
And I actually do not remember starting it or anything. All I know is that I play with it. And there's been a couple of things I can tell you right up front. There's a couple of things that I found that don't work.
Yes, this is good. let's get this right up. Don't do these things if you want this to work.
Well, because it's kind of this delicate, beautiful relationship that you have with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so the things that I have found that don't work are to try and push it or force it or to talk mean up to yourself if things are not, if you can't make it work the way that you think you want it to work.
Mm,
So
good advice.
the other thing that never happens or that I don't let happen is to be disappointed if it doesn't turn out exactly the way that I visioned it.
Oh, good.
As a matter of fact, I always have this little moment where I'm like, what if everything goes wrong? How are you going to show up then? Because the whole reason I started doing it was I have adult children, I have grandchildren, I have all these people in my life, and I want to love them all. Sometimes I do that with more or less success.
Mhm.
Sometimes I have to practice it. And that's what this is for me, is to just practice loving the people that are around me in whatever situation. Sometimes they could be having meltdowns. Sometimes I could be having
That's
meltdowns.
the truth, right?
Um,
We're all human, darn it.
yes. Well, sometimes, so very specifically, I am going to a family gathering this week in Utah. I
Okay.
live in Washington. I'm going to Utah. And I have been kind of thinking about it for several weeks. I think about who I'm going to see. There will be my siblings and a lot of their kids. And so there's going to be about 35 nieces and nephews for me there and four siblings, four or five siblings. So it's kind of an extended family thing. But people are bringing new relationships.
Mm,
There are new babies. There are people that are expecting. There are new daughters-in-law that I don't know very well. So there's all of that. And then plus these primary relationships that I have with my siblings and my nieces and nephews that I've known for a long, long time.
mm.
And now there are a lot of great nieces and nephews. So, how do I want to show up and be? And one of the beliefs that I have about myself is that I'm a leader in my family, and as a leader in my family, my influence can be felt for generations.
Such a good thought.
And so I am bringing that person with me. I want them to remember me as somebody being kind to them, in every situation, somebody that's accepting. So when I think about it, I think about how I want to feel at my family gathering,
Okay.
and I actually practice those feelings.
Okay.
So the excitement of getting to meet this new relationship. My niece has a new person that is her person.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard her talked about, but I haven't met her.
Okay.
And so I'm excited to meet her. So I just start feeling that excitement and the joy that I want to feel as I see new people.
That's so good. So you think about this big family gathering that you have, and
Yes.
in general, you start thinking about all of the people that are going to be there and who you want to be
Yes.
meeting and the relationships with you have with the different people or that you don't have with certain people and the emotion you want to bring to the event, as well as I love the thought, I'm a leader in my family and I want people to feel my love for generations and the impact I have for generations.
Yes.
So you're beginning by formulating that concept. You have this event, these are the people, this is what we're going to be doing, these are the relationships I have, the emotions I want to have, and start thinking and feeling that way. Do you find yourself like you
Yes.
set aside time ahead of time every day, or as it gets closer, you do it more often? Do you write it down? What are some of the ways you get clear on the emotion, the thoughts, the people?
I do all of that. But you have to remember that my idea is that you don't push this. But
Yeah.
yes, I do. In the morning, I have devotional time set aside.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be a part of it
Got
if I
it.
had something coming up. And I start thinking about who's going to be there and place them in my mind.
Mm,
And I often script it. I do write out what I think is going to happen, how I want to feel. Another thing that I like to write out is what if everything goes wrong?
I love this, by the way. This is so good because if we don't plan this, then when things go wrong, which there will be something that doesn't go as planned because we're not able to control the other person, right? So they might not respond the way we're hoping. We might go into fight or flight or freak out. So I love that you're preparing
Yeah.
for this. So tell me more about that. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just had to say, yes, this is so good.
Well, I think about what if things don't go the way that I planned?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not thinking about that so much with this family party because I'm not in charge of anything.
Okay.
I'm not going to have to worry about if things go as
Mm.
planned. Last summer, I did this for 6 weeks. I built this visioning thing in my mind before my big birthday party. I
Oh,
turned 65 and I decided I want a party and I invited everybody.
we should do a whole episode just on this birthday party, you guys. It was so amazing. But yeah, will you give us a peek into that? Because that was a whole. So the Christmas party is more, I'm planning for how I'm going to show up. I don't really have responsibilities. So the worst thing that could go wrong is what for the Christmas party? And then I want to talk about the birthday.
Well, I suppose it's possible that I could get sick and not be able to go. That
Okay.
that could happen. And the other thing that could happen is that somebody gets mad at me for
Hmm.
something. That
Hmm.
could happen. I think that's about the extent
Okay.
of
You don't have any relationships there that you're worried
no,
about because they're strained or anything.
no, no.
Okay. I've had that before where it feels like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I can tell I'm nervous to go talk to this person. Have you ever had that? And if you have, like, what is the process you've gone through? If you have, if you can tell in your body, you think about that person, you get a little nervous, even if you have beautiful thoughts about them, you're apprehensive.
Well,
Any
and
advice for
I,
that?
I don't think that I worry about that too much. It's hard for me to remember a time,
Mm,
but honestly, my solution to that would be there's a lot of people around here. I would just evaporate a little bit and go find somebody that I get to love on because that's really all I want to do is love
got
on
it.
them. So,
Got it. That's
so
good
if
advice.
there's
Go love.
somebody mad at, I would just make myself scarce.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there have been times where I've worried about that, but not with this one, not with the last one.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
so
glad. That's
anyway,
so great. I was going to say for me, when I've used this process you're describing for like a family thing or something that I feel like there's just a relationship, either I'm not as familiar with them or I'm nervous for whatever reason, to just go into the place. I think this goes along with like not pushing. So it's not pushing anything on them. It's just how can I make sense of how they've reacted to me if I've interpreted something, as a judgment or they don't like me or whatever my brain's made it mean and believe they're doing their best and just love them. To your point, like just I just want to be there to love. So if I'm not able to love them, just inspecting that has been super helpful for me. Like what's preventing me from loving this person and focusing on that versus on other things I don't have control over.
yeah, there are some times where I leave something, even after I've envisioned it, where I haven't felt like that I did a very good job. And
Mm,
it's usually because I'm superhuman. I'm tired. My back started hurting.
mm-hmm,
There was something that came up, and I didn't feel like I got to really pour love all over them the way I really wanted to.
mm,
But my rule is that I don't beat myself up about that
yeah.
because I can walk away from that and go, I really tried, but I just couldn't make it happen.
Mm-hmm,
And I'm so upset with myself. And so I don't get upset with myself. It's like, what if I get hungry? And honestly, it would be my back hurting so much that I'm in so much pain. I can barely stand there. And it's so distracting that I'm just not the person that I want to be. And
mm,
so, that happens too. And that is something that can go wrong. But I don't get mad at myself because I
I
didn't.
love that. Do you have any advice for people who tend to maybe beat themselves up? I find like the older I get, the easier it is to not beat myself up. Like for whatever reason, thank goodness. Maybe I'm just getting wiser. I don't know. But I would love to hear your advice to help someone who struggles with that, of maybe anything you've learned to help you be kinder.
I used to really, I would go over every word that I talked with the people and be
Hmm.
so critical of myself. And I just don't do it anymore. And there's a couple of things that I think that helped me. It was recognizing
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and then it was seeing the futility that you can't go back
Hmm.
and change a certain, a thing. Of course, you could apologize if you are rude or whatever, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
If you just talked normally and now when you think back on it and you're like, I said that dumb, that dumb, that dumb,
Yeah.
that just was so not helpful to me. It made me afraid to show
Hmm.
up and love people.
Hmm.
I don't know. I just
Yeah.
decided I don't do that anymore.
I love that you just any bits of wisdom to help someone not. beat themselves up anymore is so powerful. I remember you and I having a conversation years ago. I don't remember how long ago this was. It shows how long we've been friends, which I love. Which we were talking about how we would just say stop, or like literally put our hand out and be like,
Yes.
stop,
Yeah.
stop,
Stop, stop,
you know?
stop. Yes.
Yeah, stop, stop, stop. And sometimes it is just this visual cue, this physical cue,
Yes.
this the repetition whenever you interrupt it of, oh yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. Oh yeah, that's not something I'm continuing. And that, as simple as it sounds, is really powerful if you have the intention to love yourself more and to not
Well,
beat yourself up.
it takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight. It means
Hmm.
that you have to start seeing it happen, and you have to start realizing what it's creating for you,
Yeah,
why that's such a problem for you to be constantly badgering yourself.
yeah,
It makes you be silent. I mean, when I say I could not show as much love, I was withholding love because I was so afraid of doing it wrong.
yeah,
Now it's like, I might do it wrong. That could happen, but
right.
I'm still just going to love them. And, I'm going to show up and be just as myself as I possibly can.
Right. Oh, it's so good. Just as much of myself as I possibly can, which I don't know that every day we can be our fullest capacity of ourselves. So like you're saying, if we're physically in pain, if
Yes.
we just got a big bill in the mail that we know we can't pay, if our child's been having meltdowns all day long, these things outside of us that do prevent us from being the fullest, most kindest version of ourselves, and to be able to recognize that. And it's not an excuse. It's not saying, oh, I just guess I'm not that way, or I guess I just get to treat people mean. It's not that. It's just, oh, I was just inhibited today. I'm like a 5 out of 10 on my capacity. And it's so
Yeah.
good to just be okay with that.
You have to learn to be okay with doing the
You
best you
do.
can. And even realizing was really, I always thought I could do better. Everything. I never gave myself the grace
Mm,
to believe that I'd done my best. And now I'm like so patient with myself. And
so
it's
good.
because I am a little older and I struggle with things. And now I'm just like, you know, really, if I show up and do as good as I can, that is good enough for me.
Yeah.
I give myself a lot more grace now than I
Yeah.
used to.
Me too. One of my favorite things to talk about, because it made such a profound difference, and it's right along with what you just said, Jennifer, is we're all doing the best we can in that moment. In that
Right.
moment, based on all of the things going on in my life, all the pressures, all the stresses, all the chemicals in my body, that was the best I could do in that moment. And when you can see that with love, then your nervous system doesn't get triggered. You actually get to learn and grow from it so that you can potentially do better next time. Even when you have the same stresses, I might be able to up level myself a few percentage points, and be a little more loving. Even when I have this, bill that just hit, or the kids have been really hard that day, or my back is hurting, I might be able to do just a little bit better. And maybe the little bit better is just a little more kind and loving to myself. Maybe I realize I'm not prepared to handle this situation, so I just excuse myself. That could be the little bit better, and that's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, I'm so happy we're talking about this. So, okay, so you have the family party, and I bet a lot of people listening are thinking about the family gatherings that they have coming up, whether it's a party or a barbecue, or depending on where you live, I don't know, going and playing in the snow, whatever it looks like for you, where you want to create something really powerful for yourself. And even if it's just, I'm going to be more consciously aware of how I'm interacting with people and how I'm showing up and how I prepare myself. Maybe I need to take a nap or make sure I'm really well fed or something to prepare myself for this event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think through all of those details.
Mhm.
And as you're writing things down, you might find little spots where you're like, this is what I need to concentrate on because I know sometimes I struggle with this,
Mhm.
like feeding yourself or getting that nap. But
Yeah.
as you feel it and see it and go through it over and over again, and again, you don't have to go over and over it. You might do it every day. You might not do it every day. You might do little pieces where you find out you might have a problem. But the most amazing thing is when you get to the event and all of the sudden it starts unfolding the way you'd seen it in your mind's eye.
Mm.
It's awesome. And by awesome, I mean you feel so much awe. It's like, I can't believe this. Look at what I
Breathe.
created.
In my mind. It's like our thoughts might really create our reality. It's so
Exactly.
powerful. So when did that happen for you that you can remember, where you prepared yourself, created a plan ahead of time? visioned. Did I say it right? Visioning? Visioning. You
Yeah.
did the visioning work ahead of time, and then you went to the party, and yeah, you were blown away by how things unfolded.
Okay, so we've mentioned my birthday party.
Yes.
I put a lot of energy into that. And the night, it was my 65th birthday party. I did a flower power thing. It was kind of a 60s theme. I invited everybody I knew to my backyard. My husband hung up magical lights all over the backyard. So that was part of the magic. But I had all these ladies came and we made flower crowns.
Mm.
Then we, kind of talked a little bit about what we meant to each other. And as that was unfolding, I remember thinking, and some of those things I mentioned about like my back hurting or having been gotten worn out through doing, getting everything ready. Some of those things did happen, but I watched that night and I just could not believe it. It was just, I just kept saying, this is just like I saw it. And you feel all the feelings. And by the time it got through, I said it was just like I saw it, only better. And
Mm.
that's because my sister came. And just as it was starting, she's like, you enjoy your people. I'll take care of all of the details. Don't worry about getting food down to the people. I mean, I'll just do it all. And so it was how I saw it because I really did, instead of running around and doing things, I got to go and just talk and be with all my friends and didn't have to worry about any of the details. So it was like I envisioned it, only better.
Better. So it's so good. She left out so many of the details. This party was magnificent. And I love how you intentionally created it with so that you it was a conscious creation that was really, really magnificent to witness. And I remember you said something about the birthday party, and I hope you remember because I can't remember exactly how you said it, but something your intention for the birthday party was about it was different than what we normally think about with birthday parties. Was it I wanted to provide joy for other people or something like that? What was it?
Come and let me spoil you.
Come and let me spoil you. So it was all about other people.
I'm going to make something beautiful. The food will be wonderful. And even if you're not good with flowers, we're still going to make these flower crowns. We're going to put them on our heads and we're all going to sit around and look at each other. They all came wearing 60s clothes. It was,
Yeah. It was amazing.
I don't know how it was for them, but it was really fun for
I
me.
know.
It was like the perfect birthday party.
I know. I should have bought my ticket and come and joined you. I wish I was closer
You
so that would have been
should
easy.
have.
I know. I know. I love the point you made for this, and I think it applies to anything we're consciously creating, that it's about serving other people and showing up for other people. And you said it with the Christmas thing. I want to just go love on other people. It seems like that was the theme for your birthday party. And so many other things we've talked about, or you've shared rather, you doing this with Thanksgiving, and I've done it with my Thanksgiving. And it's so true that when we create something and it becomes less about us and more about, I wonder who I could go have a moment with or go see or go, be with, that changes everything, don't you think? Do you have any thoughts on that or how that plays into this whole process?
Well, somehow I think that's generally how I use it.
Yeah,
I think it's because I'm trying to be the best. I already said this, the best me that I can be.
right.
And this is an opportunity for me to try it and test it and
Mm-hmm.
see if this worked.
Mm-hmm.
I did this kind of preparation. Now, what result am I going to see from doing that? Part of the awe is be like, I can't believe that worked. I'm going to do that all the time.
I love so many things you just said. The fact that we're testing different theories. I wonder if I show up like this, or wonder if I prepare like this, what that will create for me, and putting the focus on the experience other people are having versus the experience I'm having. So, not what's in it for me or what am I going to get out of this, but really what am I going to give other people. I think that's so, so good. So, everybody, hopefully, you're taking copious notes and going to go do this for yourself. But I do want to focus on one other thing you said that I don't think we've unpacked just really quickly. It's something about what you said at the beginning of not trying to force this or push it too hard. So I just want to
Mhm.
make sure people understand what that means, because I think the thing that could prevent somebody from being successful with this is trying to, or accidentally rather, maybe trying to
Yeah.
push it or force it. So what advice do you have to help someone do this gently, gently without force, because that's something I struggle with, it's like let go of the reins. And I love that you use the word futility, feel the futility. So yeah.
It is important. And it's a part of being kind to yourself
Hmm.
that when you sit down, if nothing comes, it's like, okay, friend, or okay, Jennifer, I talk to myself in the kindest way that I possibly can. It's
Hmm.
okay. It's all right. If nothing comes today, that's okay. Or if you
Hmm.
can only get a little tiny glimpse, that's okay. You can
Good.
try again.
Hmm.
And it really isn't, nothing terrible is going to happen if you don't do a good job of this,
Hmm.
because that's what I'm afraid of often, is that I have to do a really good job of it, because, if it doesn't work, then I don't know, whatever fears, it's all my fault, but
Hmm.
whatever, because I feel all that. But instead, it's like, this is a joyful experience for me. When it actually happens, it's an awesome experience and it's good for other people. And I refuse to beat myself up anymore.
Yeah.
And so if I can't see it for whatever reason, again, I might be tired, I might be hungry, I might be in a bad mood, I might be worried about something else. If I can't sit down and create that vision, it's fine.
Just put it aside.
Yeah, just let it go right now. If I
Try
can do
again
it in the
tomorrow.
future, but sometimes I can write that out where I can't see it with my mind's eye.
Hmm.
So writing has been a really useful tool for me too, because I will take different parts of it apart and
Hmm.
just focus in on that and kind of write about it. Like, who am I
One
going to see?
conversation. Okay. Something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
One relationship.
Break it down into something
Hmm.
smaller.
Hmm.
For my birthday, I was envisioning decorations and what kind of flowers and how to make the crown. And honestly, I practiced all that too. I made a crown every week for like 6 weeks so
Oh,
that
that's really
I would
good.
I would be able to demonstrate it well enough to them. So it wasn't just seeing it with my mind's eye. I was out there practicing and doing and, making it happen. The food, the decorations, the flowers, the
Mm-hmm.
lights.
Hmm.
I could see them in my mind's eye, but somebody had to go put those lights up, you
Yeah.
know?
You have
Somebody
to
even had to
do the
go buy
work.
them. Yes.
And Lee
So
was the man.
Lee was the one putting them up, but I was the one that bought them.
And had the vision. Oh, I love that. I love that this came to me. I don't think this is exactly what you were saying, but I haven't done this, but now I'm going to do this. If I'm going to an event and I really want to get into that mindset of what I'm going to feel like that night, I could see myself even putting on the outfit maybe one day and saying, "Okay, I'm wearing the outfit." Just feeling the energy of it, bringing it up in different ways. I think could be really fun. So I'm going to try that out. I haven't ever done that, but I think that could be like when you were, oh, I know when it came up, when you were talking about doing the flower crowns. And I thought, oh, the tactile experience of feeling the flower crowns is really great. I could see different ways of applying that same idea to other, if I had to bring a dish to a thing, maybe I'd make it a couple of days ahead of time as a practice. And this is,
Practice, yes.
yeah, how am I going to feel as I make this?
I like to practice.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I decided to make flower crowns is because my granddaughter asked me to do the flowers for her wedding,
Mm.
and she asked for a flower crown. So, I mean, we just backed this out way before my birthday party. I was practicing making and wearing flower crowns for weeks and weeks
Oh,
last
so
year.
good. Oh, my brain is just coming up with a lot of ideas. Like, for example, if a mom is having trouble playing with their kids, you could practice that same kind of thing, is like, when this happens today, how do I want to feel? What am I going to
Yes.
do? And so this idea can be applied to big things that happen occasionally or little things that happen every single day. And there is something about envisioning the future that helps bring it into
Yeah.
the reality. So,
I don't know how. I honestly do not know how this came into reality. I mean, it's unbelievable to feel like you watched a movie in your head and
mm,
now look, it's in front of you happening just the way you thought it would.
yeah.
That is such a beautiful thing. And that really only comes, I think, with the kindness, the grace, the not pushing, not being frustrated, not being angry with yourself.
Yeah. It's a must. Without it, our nervous system gets triggered, and then we just can't even think logically because we're in high emotions, low thinking. So it is a must, because otherwise the beautiful prefrontal cortex that we have is not accessible to us.
And having your nervous system get activated, that's kind of a big deal for me
It's a
as
big
well.
deal for all of us.
I I
Yeah.
practice knowing how to calm myself.
Yeah.
I already know what I can do if things go wrong. I know how to take some deep breaths.
Mhm.
I've got some little mindfulness exercises
Mhm.
that I've got that I know I can fall back on if all of a sudden I get dysregulated, which can happen if there's a child crying or screaming in the background.
Oh, man. Like, so quickly, yeah. One other thought about ways you could do this, I remember us having a conversation, we didn't talk about it yet, so I wanna bring it up, belief walks. So going on a
Yes,
walk and thinking about
yes,
something like this, because I find moving my body sometimes I wanna
yes.
sit. So just think about it, turn on some music, maybe get me in the right mood. But sometimes I wanna go on a walk, and I love belief walks. I love dedicating a walk to envisioning exactly all the things we've been talking about. So that's another way.
It's to building your belief.
Mhm,
I mean, you're going on the walk with the idea that you are going to see
mhm,
it's that mind's eye again. You can see it
mhm.
in your mind's eye happening.
Yeah,
And yeah, I like setting aside time just to take a walk just for that. No podcast, no music, no whatever.
having the void. Yeah. The other thing I've done, I don't know if you've ever done this, is I've hit record on my camera and talked to myself either at different increments. It could be right before the event, like, "Hi, future self in 2 weeks, day before the event. Hi, future self at the event. Hi, future self after the event." And I'll speak it and record it. And for whatever reason for me, that brings up a lot of emotions and a lot of realness that sometimes it's just different. And so using, sometimes I go on a belief walk, sometimes I record myself talking to my future self, sometimes I write it down, sometimes I just think about it, sometimes practicing it, physically going through the actions of it. All of them are great ways to get yourself
Yeah.
prepared for an event.
I actually have found some of those recordings on my phone that'll be a year or 2 or 3 years
No
old,
way. That's
and
so fabulous.
listen to them and think, "Oh, look what I did. Look what I
It
did back
happened.
then."
It happened. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've used recordings too just to walk through a belief I want to have about a certain event or about me. So that's and hit record, obviously record it and then play it back multiple times. Sometimes that's a really nice way to do it. If I know I'm going to be needing to do it at times where maybe I won't, or to be able to use rather in times where I don't maybe have the ability to think about it. It's just too hard to just be able to hit play and listen to myself speak it is. I don't know if have you ever done something like that? You probably have in all these modalities, but
So the belief plan work is different from this
yeah,
envisioning. I mean, they can work together,
yeah,
but
weave
yes,
together
I actually create a set of beliefs each
every
year,
year. I know it's so good. I have to have,
and I read through them every morning.
yeah,
And they often they can change my life. And if they don't, I don't worry about it. I just take it out and no longer recite that because it's not working.
not
So
serving you. Yeah, yeah. No, I love
yeah,
using it for that bigger picture, and I've used it just
yes,
for more micro things too, which has been helpful. So I love how they are different, but yet there are similar
yes,
things
yeah,
between the
yeah,
two.
I think they kind of work together.
They work together. Thank you
Yep.
so much.
I'm really grateful you asked me to come and talk about this because it really kind of helps me think about doing it more.
Yeah, me too. We got to double down. A lot. I
Yeah.
want to be better and better. No, I mean, it is fun to revisit things that you've been doing and ask yourself. I'm finding myself right now asking myself, like, how could I make this even better? Like, what would help it turn more things into intentional things? And right now, I'm on this trip with my family and I've been thinking about, it's not a singular event, but we just reset. It feels like we just got to New Zealand. And so it is this, okay, how am I going to make New Zealand? And it is an event. It's this big event, but also a micro event every single day. And so I'm doing a lot of this work right now as well. So I'm thinking about holidays, but I'm also thinking about just how do I use it to show up for my kids in the way I want to as well. So yeah, use it both ways. We kind of bled them together, but I think it's really important work.
Well, just use it whatever way feels right. That's part of not forcing it. Just
Be
let it be a beautiful part of your life.
Mm, let it be a beautiful part of your life. That's a good way to end. That is so
Yeah.
good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experience, your process of how to create what we want with these events coming up, but also with the life that we get to have the privilege to live here on this earth, and not underestimating our ability to create that, I think is, I would say, the theme that we could say, stayed with us through this whole thing, is not underestimating what you can create, and then be in awe when you actually create it. It's so fun. So fun.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for setting aside the time to come share this with everybody. I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's a delight. Thank you.
If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, come check out League, my Connect Method parenting coaching program, where we take this material and we apply it using my proven formula. Head over to cmp.works/join.